What's going on, guys? This is Joe Giunta with Trend Trading Academy, here to help you trade and get paid. Today, we're doing the Forex Forecast for the week of September 5th. The market opens tomorrow, and let's see what we're looking at and what we think is going to happen next. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so we're looking at GBP AUD. We're looking at the weekly chart because I want to kind of recap where we've been for the last few weeks. And when we look at it, you guys know we've been talking about this level right in here being key, being a state of normality from after COVID. This is a weekly chart, so we're talking about, literally over a year ago, having some normality, having a big swing down, some sideways movement, and now some up movement. Now, here's what's awesome about that is when we look at what the chart is doing, we saw, and I've showed you this the last few weeks, we've seen where we have this type of movement that has given us this U-shaped pattern, or in other words, a drop, base, and then a rally. Now, right now we've been pulling back. I told you guys a few weeks ago that between this area here and this area here, that we'd be looking at a potential pullback for a handle to potentially form. So here's what's awesome about that. When we have this U-shaped pattern like this, and then we have a handle, now this would be the level of structure we'd be trying to get to, because that would show you that we have a handle on a teacup. Now, here's what's going to happen. If we get a nice rejection right here this week, then we should be expecting for price to rise and do what we call filling the cup. So when we say filling the cup, you say, well, that's really not a lot of movement. Well, look at this. Just to fill the cup, we're talking about 600 pips. So we're talking about literally having 600 pips of potential movement just to fill the cup. So I'm anticipating that could happen. Now, is anything a guarantee in Forex? Of course not. If we do break and find new lows, if we break this area, continue downward, we should be expecting to get to this area here. And that, on the downside, would be somewhere in the neighborhood of, you see here, 400 pips. So either way, we're pretty happy. We don't really care which direction the market goes. We don't need to be wizards. I know that's, you hear these gurus out there that feel like they need to be able to know exactly what the market's going to do. You don't need to know all that. What you need to know is that you are positioned in a way that you are prepared for whatever the market's going to do so that you can make money either way, okay? So essentially what we're saying is that we had two levels. We had this level here, and we had these levels here. And we, on the upside, we're expecting for price to get to one of those levels and reject. Now, that rejection does not necessarily mean it's a full rejection, because here's the reason why. And I talked about this in our class on Thursday in TTA. Here's our low at our reversal point from this swing high. We have a low, high, higher low, higher high. Now, of course, we have some smaller movement in between on the smaller time frames. But right now, we're pulling back, and we have not even really tested this area or this area truly yet. So we are not necessarily expecting for price to continue downward just yet, because we have not set structure. So if we end up getting this rejection like we think on the teacup handle, and we fill the cup, that is just to match the higher high, right? So low, high, higher low, higher high. If this is going to be continue being an uptrend, then we would need to set a higher high. So here's the high. So we expect that price will get at least to there, just to at least test that high. And then we'll see if it either rejects down and causes a double top on the weekly, or if it breaks through and this is not the high, this is not a reversal, but it's just a pullback. And so now we have this teacup, but really we have structure forming over here on the higher highs. And at that point, then we would be expecting price to get up into this area right here. And now we're talking about a very nice and very substantial move, because we're talking about, look at this, about 930, 950 pips. So a lot of movement coming for GA. There's a lot of very clear, very easy to read structure happening, and looks really good. Looks really good. So one more thing I want to show you. We're going to take this down to the 30-minute chart. I like the 30-minute because it gives you some sound movement. You can kind of see the structure played out. Here was the high, the beginning of what we would call a handle. If this does play out to be a handle, this is where that happened, right up here. This is the low down here, the end of that wick that we saw on that second weekly candle. Now, here's what's awesome about that is we had a move down, a move up, a move down, a move up, and we were right in this area right here. And I told the team, I said, we could potentially see an inverse head and shoulders, but now we know that every pattern doesn't always play out. That's why we don't trade until we see the neckline broken, right? Now, of course, that pattern was rejected. That pattern was rejected, and we've seen this bigger push down. Now, here's what's interesting about that. We come right back down, and we're starting to, if we end up moving back up off the handle, well, we have some very nice structure playing in there, okay? What I'm saying is that what we thought could have been a head right here on the inverse head and shoulders could have actually been the shoulder and the head play out down here, okay? And if we get more movement that gives us something like this, then we could really see that handle play out, and we'd still see a head and shoulders, but just a little bit bigger than what we anticipated. So if that happens, then it's giving us a beautiful neckline push right here. We would be able to see a really nice on the 30-minute chart, see a really nice head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder breakout, and on the larger time frame, it would fill that cup and handle and show us how we can fill the cup. So this would be our target up here. So I hope that helps you guys. We're looking at some really great movement. We're looking at a lot of awesome things happening in the market. And that's your forecast for this week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to become a student of TTA and see the full trade setups, entries, and everything that we do, go to trendtrading.academy. Sign up today. Don't miss out anymore. We're making money together. We're trading together, and we're having a lot of success together as a community. I'll see you next week in the Forex Forecast.